Good evening. I'd like to call to order the 1,685th meeting of the Board of Trustees for Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District. Roll call.
Mr. Wabi?
Here.
Ms. Kistner?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson is not here yet. Mr. Nickerson?
Yes.
All right, we have a quorum.
Approval of the journey of the proceeding minutes, May 9th, 2024, for the 1,684th meeting.
Second.
There are no comments by the chair. Report of the board committees. Trustee Watson, can you read the audit committee?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Audit Committee, June 4th, 2024. Board of Trustees report. The Audit Committee met on June 4th at 7:30 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Evans, Wilson, and Wabi, with Trustees Watson and Nickerson attending online. Chairperson Watson called roll and had no introductory comments. Minutes of April 30th Audit Committee were approved. Next, internal audit presented the risk assessment of the internal audit plan for fiscal year 2025. The presentation included overviews of the risk assessment process and various engagements be performed as part of fiscal year 25 audit plan. The presentation also included a discussion of the roles of the audit teams that participate in the district's overall audit program. Questions were addressed as they were received from the committee. The next audit committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July the 2nd, 2024. Meeting was adjourned at approximately 7:47 a.m. This concludes the audit committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Watson. Trustee Kistner, can you please read the program management committee report?
Yes, good evening. The Program Management Committee met on June 4, 2024 at 7:49 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Wabi, Wilson, and Evans, with Nickerson and Watson online. Chairperson Nickerson called roll and had no further comment. The minutes of the April 30, 2024 Program Management meeting were approved. The agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented and discussed, including a detailed discussion regarding the following items. Ordinance number 16399, staff provided details of CSO volume reduction green infrastructure grant being awarded to Fresh Coast Capital, doing business as Greenpoint Partners for construction of various volume reducing facilities to reduce combined sewer overflows to the Mississippi River per the CSO long-term control plan. Staff answered a question from Trustee Wabi regarding annual funding appropriated for the program. Ordinance number 16400, staff requested appropriation for funding the annual fiscal year 2025 wastewater infrastructure repair program. Staff then gave an update on the MWBE participation for the first half of fiscal year 2024. Ordinance number 16401, staff reviewed the details and bid information for GC06 Gravois Creek Sanitary Relief Project bid this past month. The ordinance authorizes the contract with Understall Contracting and appropriates the necessary funds for the project. Ordinance number 16402, staff requested authorization to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Rock Hill located within the Deer Creek OMCI. The agreements will allow MSD to reimburse the city for its stormwater master plan as part of the district's OMCI reimbursement program. Staff presented proposed resolution number 3905, recommending to the board that property located at 2800 Fanny Drive, Arnold, Missouri, is no longer necessary for district operations and should be declared as surplus. Staff discussed the disposition of the property and interest in the property from the City of Arnold. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 2, 2024. The meeting was adjourned at 7:59 a.m. This concludes the Program Management Board comments report.
Thank you, Trustee Kistner. Trustee Evans, can you read the Finance Committee report?
Thank you. Finance Committee met on June 4th, 2024 at 8:01 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Wilson, Evans, Wabi, with Trustees Watson and Nickerson online. I called roll and had no further comments. Minutes of the April 30, 2024 Finance Committee meeting were approved. Mike Comstock of Aon presented a review of the investment returns relating to the defined benefit, defined contribution, and the deferred compensation pension plans for the first quarter of 2024. Mike reviewed the return of the plan assets compared to the applicable benchmarks. He indicated that the defined benefit plan return of 3.7% in the first quarter exceeded the policy benchmark return of 3.4%. For the 12-month period through March 31, 2024, the plan returned 12.1%, above the policy benchmark return of 10.5%. He also reviewed the investment management fees associated with the plans and indicated the district's fees were less than those charged to its institutional peers. Director of Finance, Marion G., presented the quarterly adjustment review committee report as required by ordinance. Marion also presented the quarterly financial status report for the period ending April 2024 and provided an update regarding the fiscal year 2025 budget. Secretary Treasurer Tim Snoke reviewed the district's operating fund portfolio as of May 30, 2024. Tim indicated that the portfolio is in compliance with the district's investment policy. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. The meeting was adjourned at 8:38 a.m. This concludes the Finance Committee Board comments.
Thank you, Trustee Evans. I'll read the Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting report. The Stakeholder Relations Committee met at district headquarters on June 4th, 2024 at 8:40 a.m. The meeting was attended by Chairperson Wilson and Trustees Evans and Wabi. Participating online were Trustees Nicholson and Watson. Trustee Wilson called roll and had no further comment. The minutes of the April 30th, 2024 Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting were voted on and approved. The first agenda item was a discussion by Todd Oshbacher regarding a resolution to repeal and supersede resolution number 3381, effective July 1st, 2024. Brett Berthold will be added as a district representative to execute EPA and MDNR grant loan documents and to remove Brian Holscher as of that date. This is resolution number 3906 on tonight's agenda. The next agenda item was a discussion by Dino Kiverick and Brett Berthold regarding ordinances for MSD's classification and compensation plans. Dino began the discussion regarding the classification plan. Ordinance number 16403 will update classifications, introduce new job titles. Brett Berthold then discussed the compensation plan. Ordinance number 16404 defines the upcoming salary increases for fiscal years 2025 through 2028 for the BT schedule, A and B schedule, AFS, CME, and C and U schedules. Adjournment. The meeting was adjourned at 8:48 a.m. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 2nd, 2024. Report of Executive Director.
I guess I'm going to go. So
You're going to go.
I didn't know you were going to
Mr.
say.
Holscher, would you go, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Trustees, I've had the opportunity to say farewell and thank you, send farewell and thank you messages to MSD staff and all of MSD's partners. I would like to use my last report to thank the trustees I've had the pleasure of working with, both past and present, and to extend my good wishes to Brett. When I was promoted to the role of Director of Engineering in 2003, I was lucky to be involved directly with the Board of Trustees. MSD at that time was in a transition of senior staff. That resulted in my being interviewed and hired for the position of Director of Engineering by then Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Bob Baer, Chairman of the Program Management Committee, Bart Margiotta, and the Interim Executive Director, Jeff Thurman. My relationships with the members of that Board of Trustees continue even to this day. A particular note are Claude Brown, who served as a consultant to the Executive Director's Office until his passing over a year ago, and Bart Margiotta, who most recently assisted in the coordination of MSD's consent decree work with the renewal of the Normandy Golf Course. I had the pleasure of experiencing that kind of teamwork with every board I have worked with, including this current Board of Trustees. I could mention many more individuals, but I'm sure I would miss the contribution of some who have assisted MSD and myself over the past 20 years. I think many of you have come to realize that MSD is not your normal Missouri municipal entity. MSD is unique within the state of Missouri and among wastewater and stormwater utilities throughout the rest of the country. MSD has a governance structure, organizational structure, and mission that are unlike anyone else in the state of Missouri. Our narrow mission is driven by environmental regulations, including our consent decree and various other Clean Water and Clean Air Act requirements. In the next 4 years, 95% of our capital budget, 2/3 of our operating budget, and almost our entire debt service budget will consist of the daily work needed to meet these federal and state regulations. Much of this work can be very technical in nature with regard to development and implementation, especially with regulatory requirements and conditions that need to be met. This essential work is profoundly improving the community we serve, yet the financial limitations leave a little room for error. Fortunately, with the passage of Proposition S, MSD will finally be able to extend our services beyond regulatory compliance. It will allow us to begin providing a service based solely on the everyday backyard needs of our customers, significantly enhancing the quality of life in our community. Staff greatly appreciates the time every one of the trustees spends understanding and providing input into this as part of your oversight and approval responsibilities. Finally, I want to thank all of you for providing the tremendous resources and time needed for Brett Berthold to transition to his new role. I think Brett will agree it has proven to be exactly the right amount of time to learn much of the day-to-day work that is performed by no one else on MSD staff, and most importantly, to get to experience 6 months worth of the surprises that are not planned, but that can only be moved forward by the executive director. Since I assumed the position of executive director over 11 years ago, I was lucky to have my predecessor, Jeff Thierman, available as a resource to bounce ideas off of. I want to assure Brett that I'll be available in that capacity as well, not to provide answers, but to offer options and where to find those options. I'll be extremely happy to leave it to Brett to manage our continued compliance with MSD's regulatory mandates, keep finding unique ways to provide better, cost-effective services, and to fix everything that I may have messed up. Trustees, this is the end of my final report. Thanks to all of you and your predecessors for all your hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brian.
Mr. Chairman, point of personal. I just want to thank you, Brian, for your
Thank you.
on behalf of all of my other trustees, the other trustees. It's been a pleasure working with you, and you've done magnificent to you.
Thank you very much.
That
Yes.
comments from the public. We have one, Mr. Tom Sullivan. I'd like to remind you to please keep your remarks to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The big item on today's agenda is the 2025 budget at a record $1.16 billion. It caused me to think about years ago when there was talk of privatizing MSD. The idea was that it would cause the district to be run much more efficiently and provide considerable savings for ratepayers. But just the talk of privatization caused MSD management to panic. District management put together teams to head off any privatization effort. A consultant was brought in to speak to groups, and strategies were developed to show MSD wasn't the bloated organization many considered it to be. In the minutes from one of the meetings, the consultants were talking about the advantage of privatization. According to the minutes, quote, their advantages are that they are always better at purchasing and at managing the workforce to obtain maximum working hours from an employee workday. They hold employees and vendors accountable. The district currently does a terrible job of this. Of course, that was stale news. The consultant also said privatization could mean a 40% workforce reduction. So when the 2025 budget is considered, it has to be figured it includes a considerable amount of fat and waste. Of course, the budget would not be as big as it is had the district not been so negligent in meeting regulations of the Clean Water Act 40 or 50 years ago. This negligence has cost MSD ratepayers many millions of dollars. The government used to cover the cost. Also on today's agenda, item number 15 is final approval of $740,000 no bid contract with Jacobs Engineering Group. Jacobs has long had best buddy status with MSD. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Holschauer ends up working there. As I previously noted, according to Violation Tracker, Jacobs and related companies have had 61 violations over the last 20 years or so, for which it was fined or had to pay settlements in the tens of millions of dollars. They range from $5,000 to $35 million. The company has been accused of cheating the United States government numerous times. I think some Jacobs employees even served, former Jacobs employees even served prison terms. None of this makes any difference. The board rubber stamps their contracts anyway. Also, I would question agenda item number 16, 1.9 million, no bid contract for construction management services. It's hard to understand why this is needed and why the district can't do the work itself. Thank you for listening to my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Submission of public hearing reports, report of the Finding of Fact Committee. At the budget, user charge, capital improvement and replacement, and tax rate public hearing held on May 9th, 2024. A Finding of Fact Committee consisting of Trustees Evan, Wabi, and Nico Zisson were appointed to determine the proposed tax should be levied, assessed, and collected as recommended by staff. The committee members have reviewed the proposed tax rates and concluded that these taxes are necessary to be levied, assessed, and collected in the amounts requested to meet the district's operating and capital requirements of both the district and the various sub-districts. Communications,
There are none.
consent agenda item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. The consent agenda tonight is items 10 through 50. Is there any board member who would like to pull an item for a separate vote? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
All right, we will move on to new business, and we'll start with, as usual, with ordinances. And the first one is item 51, the introduction of ordinance number 16399, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with Fresh Coast Capital, doing business as Greenprint Partners for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Aspire Academy project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Item 52, the introduction of ordinance number 16400, appropriating $5.5 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund and $2.5 million from the General Fund to be used for repair, replacement, and construction of manholes, sewers, and other infrastructure and infrastructure repairs project at various locations throughout the district. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Item 53, introduction of ordinance number 16401, appropriating $4.9 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer construction in the GC06 Graveway Creek to Briarstone and Gate Sanitary Relief Phase 2 project in the city of Sunset Hills and unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with an Understall Contracting Company. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Item 54, introduction of ordinance number 16402, authorizing the district to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Rock Hill for cost sharing for municipal stormwater expenditures in the Deer Creek OMCI reimbursements program in St. Louis County. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Item 55 is the introduction and adoption of ordinance number 16403, repealing ordinance 16342, adopted April 11, 2024, enacting a new ordinance prescribing changes to the classification plan to update classifications to reflect the introduction of new job titles. All changes have been approved by the Civil Service Commission. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Do I hear an objection to the suspension of the rule? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
All right. Item 56, before we read that, I think Brett has some comments.
Yes, thank you, Tim. Ordinance number 16404, there was several sentences added to section 7. Trustees, we have recently implemented a new payroll system. There were some concerns about implementing the pay increases for our employees, and we wanted to be prudent and ensure them that if we did not get them implemented at the time of their contracts, that there would be retro pay for those employees that are affected. So that was the nature of the addition of the language to Section 7 of Ordinance 16404. Staff does feel confident that we will get things done and it will be on time, but we just thought it was the right thing to do to add the additional language to the ordinance. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
My own company just made that same transition to, is it UKG?
UKG, yes.
And, there's always hiccups, so appreciate the forethought.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing no other comments or questions. Item 56 is the introduction and adoption of ordinance number 16404, repealing ordinance 16110 adopted May 11th, 2023, and enacting a new ordinance prescribing changes to the compensation plan to update all BT schedule, C and U schedules. All A and B schedule positions eligible for membership in AFSCME number 410 are updated. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Do I hear an objection to the suspension of the rule? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
All right, that takes us to resolutions. The first one is item 57, the adoption of resolution number 3902, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Robert Benny for his 17 years of exemplary service to the district from April 23rd, 2007 to his retirement effective June 1st, 2024. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Item 58, adoption of resolution 3903, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Trevor P. Bray for his 27 years of exemplary service to the district from May 12, 1997 to his retirement effective June 1st, 2024. Is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second?
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Item 59 is the adoption of resolution 3904, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Douglas M. Mendoza for his 34 years of exemplary service to the district from October 9th, 1989 to his retirement effective June 1st, 2024. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Item 60, adoption of resolution 3905, whereas the executive director of the district has recommended to the Board of Trustees that a section of district real property located at or near 2800 Fanny Drive in Arnold, Missouri is no longer necessary or useful. The district's operations therefore should be declared as surplus property. Is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
And item 61, the adoption of resolution number 3906 to repeal and supersede resolution 3881 adopted February 9, 2024, and enact a new resolution in lieu thereof, which adds Brett Berthold as the designated signatory to periodically file with the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the Missouri Department of Natural Resources applications for grants and loans to aid in the construction of projects to mitigate water pollution within the district's area of jurisdiction and responsibility. And responsibility effective July 1st, 2024, and removes Brian Holscher as the signatory effective on that date. Is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Ms. Kistner?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chair, there is no further business this evening.
Can I, motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We're adjourned.
We're adjourned.